following angles are coterminal angles. Now, coterminal angle is an angle that ends in the same place as other angles. Now, you might say, well, wait a second. How does that happen? Well, 30 degrees is it's going to make the short triangle in this quadrant here. There's 30 degrees. The only way you're going to have another coterminal angle, one that ends in that same spot, is if I continue beyond it all the way around until I get to there again. Which means I'm adding an entire rotation around the unit circle, which means I'm going to add 360 to that 30 degrees. Okay? So if I go all the way 360 degrees beyond 30, 30 plus 360 is equal to 390. So 390 is a coterminal angle. Okay? Now you say, whoa, you can go more than once? Well, that's the first I've heard of that. Well, good. You've learned something then. And that means that should just open up to however many times you want to go around that unit circle. So there's really an infinite number of angles that have a coterminal angle to that particular location. You just keep adding 360 to it. So if you look at that, 150 is over here. It's not coterminal because it's in a different part of the unit circle. Same thing with 330. 480, you might say, well, wait, does that go around again? Well, we're not adding more than 360, so no. So these guys do not count. But a negative 30, and we just recently talked about what a negative angle does. That would mean we're heading down this direction. So a negative 30 would be traveling the same distance, but down into this quadrant here. Okay? So negative 30 is not the case, but think about this, negative 330. Yes. Negative 330 does go almost all the way around the circle, and it stops in that same location. So a couple different ways you can approach it. You can say, well, if I'm here at 30 and I want to have a coterminal angle, instead of going forward 360, I could just go backward 360. So if I take 30 and I subtract 360, it gives me that negative 330, which is in fact that angle. And so you look at beyond that, okay, and you say, well, what about 110 or 1110? That's 30 plus 360. There's confirmation that 390 is a solution. Plus 360, and if I just keep hitting enter, the previous answer plus 360, that one applies. The calculator, this one comes in handy. Hit enter again. I'm at 830, which is too little, and 2190 is too big, so that one's no longer an option as well. So we're looking at looking beyond, okay? And we won't do everything in this section, but if we find one positive angle that's coterminal to 240, again, we have a wealth of options there. That just means if we're going to find a positive angle, that means we have to go forward an additional 360 at least. Works out kind of nice. It's a nice round number. You add that together, you get 600. So 600 degrees, and there's your proof, by the way, too. So a negative angle, what would you do with 135? Subtract 360 degrees, exactly right. And then, space to show that. Are these two coterminal? I can ask same types of questions. Are they coterminal? Well, I'll tell you in a second. I have to add 210. Now, if you know it's more than one rotation, then what could you in fact add instead of just adding 360? Well, 2 times 360, whoa. 2 times 360 is equal to 720. So adding 720 is a quicker way of going around the unit circle a couple times. There's your 0, there's your 3, there's your 9. Lo and behold, the answer is yes, they're coterminal because I just added 2 rotations of the unit circle. And lastly, for this section, which of the following is not coterminal with 60 degrees? Well, that means a lot of them are, and we just a moment ago reminded ourselves that 720 will get you 2 rotations at once. You add those together, that's 780 is in fact a coterminal angle, but they're looking for not, so I choose not to answer that one. If I add another 720 to that, we're going to bump into 1500. Again, not so much. So now I've got to basically back it up. I've got 60 minus 360, that's going to give me a negative 300. And then if I go back another 360, that's going to get me to negative 660. So again, that's not the case. So the one that would have been the hardest to find is really the one that is not coterminal with 60.